to my channel. It's Millennial NP, and this week I have something really rare and really special. I mean, I don't know how rare it is, but I mean, it's rare but controversial in a sense. I am partaking in a nursing strike. Why am I doing that? And I'm gonna cover all that. I'm sorry I look terrible right now. I feel like I say that a lot to you guys. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this. Like, this is gonna be like my personal journal of this. And so today is day one. I did induction on Friday, which means I kind of went in, they looked at my stuff. They're like, yeah, you're a candidate. You can do this strike with us. Yeah, we have availability for you. And so then they pass you through like a credentialing system, and then you tell them who you are. You've got all your paperwork. They've kind of already started requesting it prior. I'm gonna eat if you guys don't mind. I'm starving, so I'll get to all this part in a second. But this is included. They feed you meals. Maybe you're assigned in a department. So like they put out requests, and then like my department was one of the departments that they were requesting. So I did a PACU versus an ER, which I could have done, but I chose PACU since A, it's my first strike. B, the ER is a hot mess during a strike, and I figure I'd rather not be there. All kudos to those nurses who thrive on this. They're striking. I won't say who be partaking in that. Yes, this is actually happening around the same time that the coronavirus is happening. So that's kind of a cool thing. It was kind of a crazy thing. It was good. I would have no issues caring for the patient. It would be more of I would be a person of interest, and then a quarantine, and then World Health Organization / CDC people they're supposed to like follow you and interview you, or just kind of see if you show symptoms, if you're exposed. And so I don't know what phase of quarantine they're in. I don't know what's happening at the hospital. I don't want to be there. So they are not sending people there. They've kind of isolated that hospital, and I don't know. That's their own thing. Yeah, it's happening right now. I mean, this is crazy. Well, let me tell you a little bit about strikes as I get started. What is this? Athena purified, all right, some mineral water. I don't know. What the heck is that? Oh, it's a snickerdoodle. It's a really big snickerdoodle cookie. Okay. All right. Here's my some apples. They were kind enough to give me an Andes mint. And then, of course, my sandwich and these are the meals. Like, these are the types of meals that we're receiving. No, I'm not a strike nurse by trade. I am a travel nurse. Before that, I was an ER nurse and a PACU nurse. So what I'm doing is using my specialties during a strike. So what is a strike? A strike is essentially figured I could do a voiceover as you guys watch me confusedly eat my box meal. And so I figured I'm going to go ahead and explain to you guys using the dictionary and using other resources here that I found online, and you can find this. I'll leave links below. So the first thing I wanted to do was cover what exactly is a strike. And so I found this one on legaldictionary.thefreedictionary.com. So a strike is defined as a work stoppage, the concerted refusal of employees to perform work that their employer has assigned to them in order to force the employer to grant certain demand concessions, such as increased wages or improved employment conditions. A work stoppage is generally the last step in labor management dispute over wages and working conditions. Because employees are not paid when they go on strike and employers lose productivity, both sides usually seek to avoid it. Although when negotiations have reached an impasse, however, a strike may be the only bargaining tool left for employees. 60s and 70s, I'd say, 1960s and 70s. And so the strike I'm going to talk about has to do with an essential resource, which is what I think is what draws me to my biggest point, striking. And some of the behavior I see in striking, or what some of the mentality is around striking. A lot of people have some form of moral feelings to whether or not they belong to a union or don't belong to a union.
And so what I want to point out is that I don't think it has anything to do with unions or non-unions or collective bargaining agreements or anything like that. What I'm going to talk to you about in this particular strike that happened in 1970 under the presidency of Richard Nixon was called the U.S. Postal Workers Strike. That's correct. Government workers, postal workers stopped working. And here's the reason. So in 1970, President Nixon had a great deal on his plate. As we all know, we had the Vietnam War was still raging on, and it was a war that we were not winning. And that just did not really help. So while our country's in a recession, the postal workers went to strike. Nixon had felt that he had the power and authority to outlaw all strikes. His accordance called the Wage and Price, which freezes wages and changing of wages and that. Although he made an exception since Congress was given a 41% raise. So the members of Congress during this time received a 41% raise, which is what set off the postal workers because they got a measly 4%. So you're in a recession, right? You know that the war's not going well. And you're pretty much, we're figuring out Mr. Nixon was already in some deep water, or he was going to be in something called the Watergate scandal. You know, in his eyes, it was, well, I gotta protect my people, so let me just give them a raise or so, or I could be assuming more than I should, but that's kind of what I'm getting from this. So if I were a postal worker, I'd be pissed off. So the story goes that all of these postal workers essentially stopped working. And President Nixon went on television and tried to, force these people to get back into work. And this got so bad. I mean, it lasted a week. I mean, a week is pretty devastating, but that meant that nobody was able to get their mail. And so President Nixon, even as so much, ordered the National Guard to go and attempt to deliver mail instead of our postal workers, and found that this was an impossible task to do. That proved that this is a job that, only a certain group of people can do, which is how I feel about nursing. That these are the essential jobs and not everybody can replace them.
A lot of nurses make it their business to work around strikes because it pays very lucratively. So you can probably, in a strike, just, I don't know, like where you live or how you spend your money, or if you own a home, or if you have kids, or if you're married, or if you're single. I don't know what your home life is like, but if you are flexible enough to be able to just, like if you have a per diem job, for example, but you're able to just pick up and go, that would be a perfect opportunity. What I mean by like, okay, lucrative, at least $15, and that's me being conservative. It's going to be $15 over what you would normally make as a staff nurse across the board. That's your base pay. So a lot of nurses know that if they were to work a contract, this type of a crisis contract, for 1 week, it's about the same pay as working 3 months or 4 months on average. So in 10 days, you could have done like literally a solid 2 or 3 months of work in that amount of time. No, you don't get the same benefits you would as a staff nurse. No, you don't get vacation time. No, you budget yourself. Like, you are in complete control of your job. You're in complete control of your profession when you do this. As in, you need to be able to get up and move. You need to be flexible. So that is the downside of this versus a travel contract, where I have a lot of tips about traveling, which I plan to put a few more, but this is not the same as your typical nursing contract. I can't negotiate a contract like I would if it was a regular contract with a hospital. You're kind of at the mercy of the crisis contractor at this point. So the hospital makes a deal with your contracting group or whoever they are. They set a base rate. Okay, and you either kind of say yes or no. Base rate might change though if they're unable to fill the needs and they're more desperate and they have to raise rates to draw in more nurses. So let's say that my base rate was $50, just an example, and they're still desperate and they still need more nurses, they might bump that up to $75 an hour or more. Like, I'm hearing other more wilder numbers, okay? So how did I hear about this? Well, simple, watching the news, and I saw something about an announcement about a strike happening here. So I got online and I looked up a couple of companies and got in touch, sent in an application, and I wanted to know what the rate was. $15 of what I'm currently making. They're going to pay for my hotel, going to cover they'll provide meals. Whether or not I choose to take them, I guess, is kind of up to me. But I'm supposed to be provided meals. I'm supposed to be provided meals during my break. And that's at the hospital. Like, this company is supposed to be there, be present, and handle it. Today, I went and did stations. So I had to get my PAP, my fit test, which is like, you put an N95 mask, you put a hood over your head, and they spray this stuff that smells bad or tastes bad or something. I had to look at another EKG machine. I had to look at, like I mentioned, they lost my stuff like twice. This has been a hot mess. I've been trying to like hold it in, girl, hold the pressure. I mean, I'm almost at the point where I'm like, I don't need this. And a lot of nurses have been telling me that too, since I've been chatting with a lot of people during this event, because I'm meeting a lot of new nurses. I'm meeting a lot of cool people. And I'm learning about some really interesting and dark things about this world. This is a different world of nursing. It's not a really highly publicized world of nursing. So I am literally going to take you behind the scenes. I can't take you with me to these hospitals. I mean, I'm under a strict contract. So the most I can really do is give you my day. Like, this will be journals, and if I have a quick snapshot, I'll throw it in there. But this is like real. This is very different. This is dangerous. That's what I mean. This is dangerous, and I'm gonna tell you about that. I'm not really good at eating and talking at the same time. It's just really hard, guys. I don't know how they do these mukbangs and shit. Oh, excuse me. Things I'm hearing. Well, A, it's unorganized. B, as the other nurses put it, it's a shit show. Okay. I walk in knowing that. I excuse my language for all my other nurses who don't like the cursing part. It slips out sometimes, don't forget. I'm still ER a little bit. I had a great day chatting with all of these wonderful nurses, and I mean it, they're wonderful. What I'm going to tell you is something I never want to hear from another nurse again. That's how serious I am about this. I literally was disgusted to hear what I heard about nurses, about other nurses, about management in some of these hospitals when they call in strike nurses. I was disgusted with the behavior. I believe that the American people need to know and understand what happens behind the scenes in hospitals. I know that this could be really, really me telling you guys is one side of it. Believing it is another side of it. Understanding and comprehending what it means is devastating. I know I keep building this up, guys, but I'm fucking serious. Apparently, nurses feel that, not all of them, but a lot of them feel that striking nurses are the enemy. I believe that there's a very big difference between striking for a company that does not risk the life of another human being versus striking in a hospital. Most cases and most things I've heard, it's safe staffing. So there probably isn't enough staff to do what needs to be done in a hospital safely. So across the board and across the country, I can vouch for that one because I've seen it, I've been there. Run into a huge issue. I mean, a freaking huge issue is the fact that not just one nurse told me that other nurses sabotaged her work But I mean, at least 5, 6, 7, 8 nurses told me the same thing. They told me that most hospitals, most nurses, most other coworkers, staff, CNAs, other people, they'll see traveling nurses and striking nurses as nurses to sabotage. Let me describe what sabotage means. Because let's face it, it's not going to injure me. It's going to injure the patient. So when I come into a hospital to treat a patient, I come into a hospital to care for a patient, to advocate for a patient, because that's my job. That's what a nurse does. Across the board, we're all trained to do that. I don't know where the hell somebody thought that it would be okay. I don't know, adjust pumps without letting the nurse know, or unlocking pumps and increasing values of certain probably deadly chemicals like, I don't know, chemo. I had a nurse tell me that. The staff person, a person who worked at that hospital, an upper management person, a nurse, walked in after her and increased the rate of her pump for half an hour. Has she not walked in after, like just, she had a gut feeling, she would have found that patient dead. Would you feel safe if you knew that other nurses were sabotaging other nurses during strikes? We're gonna lose our ability to be independent. People forget how vulnerable this profession is. Can't believe that that's common practice. Shame on the nurses who feel as though that they need to do something like that, because it's not going to hurt me. Think about it. You sabotaging me, what, gets me fired? Okay, I'm on a contract. I'm only here for a week. I'm supposed to help you out, right? I'm supposed to help you. So you sabotaging me by hurting a patient? Where does that make any sense? Yeah, stick it to the guns, huh? Stick it to the man. Kill my patient? There are no words for that. If you feel that you need to go out of your way to screw someone over, that's how bad it is? You have to sink that low? Because remember, what if it wasn't just a patient? What if it was your mother or father or child? How would you feel knowing that during an event like this, that's what other nurses do to each other? That's pretty fucked up to me. I'm gonna be sleep deprived because a lot of these nurses come from God knows how many thousands of miles to do this. I mean, you're all gonna say, oh, but they're getting compensated. They're getting all that money. It's like, okay, you could too. What's stopping you? Oh, I have a job, I have kids. Nothing. Nothing is stopping you. It's just you. It's your choice. It's what you can and can't do, or it's what you can and can't commit. But just because you couldn't do it, or because you're jealous and that you need to take it out on somebody else, I mean, man, I only see this shit happen with like petty people. Like, as you can tell, I'm very upset about this. Especially because it would never in my conscience ever occur to me that I need to hurt somebody to get back at a nurse. For what? For what? Like, really, for what? We are supposed to set an example. We're supposed to be better. If we're not better, who will be? So, for the people out there who think that they need to sabotage striking nurses, get it together. Deal with it. Settle your own things at home first, and really think about who's going to get hurt next time you really feel you need to do something like that. I invite you, I give you the opportunity. Nobody's stopping you. Be a better person. You need to be a better person. That was really deep. This was hard. I'm not doing okay, guys. I was really upset about this. This really, it's bugging me. It really bugged me. Like in I don't know, a factory is the fact that, or let's just say General Motors vehicles, right? Is the fact that General Motors vehicles are vehicles. I can turn off a machine that produces a car. The car is not living. The car is not your mom. The car doesn't have pneumonia. The car doesn't have sepsis. So these are like all situations to me that would require a nurse or a staff member or a physician or someone who knows what they're doing in order to safely handle and manage that patient. Don't get me wrong, if a hospital decided they were going to just close the doors and say, okay, we're striking, that's different. Totally. I would respect something like that in the sense of I wouldn't need to say, okay, well, who's going to watch that patient? They're not there. But realistically, hospitals are community resources. You can't just shut them down. Somebody's got to care for that person who has an emergency or an MI in the middle of the night and needs to go to an ER. Just because that ER is striking is no reason why to divert them. If you don't have strike nurses or strike techs or strike whoever, who do you get? We're just not going to do nursing today. We're just not going to hospital today. We're just not going to do anything at all today, okay? We're just going to sit. I bet I'm in this to learn something. I have learned a lot. My eyes are like wide now. I love my profession. I love nursing. It has brought me so many adventures. It has taken me all over the place. This is probably one of the most craziest ones I've done, as in adventures. So I'm interested, I'm curious, but this is my first journal entry. You have heard what I've heard. I'll see what I see tomorrow and I will report back. I'm gonna finish this Caesar salad wrap. Looks like rabbit food, but I'm gonna eat it because it's free. So I got off topic. So yeah, so the strike is planned for a certain amount of time. As of this moment, I have 6 days at this place. Then I might move to another place. So I don't know, maybe the strike will end sooner than that. I don't know. So that could happen. The hospital can come back to negotiate and say, okay, we're gonna negotiate. We're gonna get back and sit in front of the table and do this again. So if that happens and they come to an agreement, then I'm done. I'll leave. Our whole company leaves. We just pick up and go. If not, then I'm there for another day and then another day until my contract ends. So as of this moment, I'm scheduled for those days and then we'll see how many more. Sometimes the hospital can't make a decision and they need me longer. So then I have to be on call for longer. That still means I'm getting paid all that money. That's right. So I don't know. It's not easy to negotiate with this type of contract. It's kind of like you take it or you leave it. I'm so close to not taking it, okay? I've had it up to like here, okay? Today and the other day were just already like 2 really bad examples of how messy this is. This is very, very messy. I feel as though it's very unorganized. A lot of nurses say the same thing. Information comes in and they have to like reach out to I don't know how many people at once and it's just rough. It's really, really rough. Like today, like they lost my paperwork twice. I mean, I know. Yeah, so striking. So I finally got to supposedly the hotel I'm supposed to be at. This is the second one I'm at. And they're like, thanks for being flexible. I'm like, I'm flexible. I have the patience of a saint, maybe, but it's wearing thin, guys. It's really wearing thin. I don't know how much longer I can handle this. Not knowing where to go and like, okay, look, it's simple. Just tell me where I need to be at a certain time. I'll be there. This hotel's like, okay. I think there's some people staying in nicer hotels, but I mean, they haven't put me in anything like the couple other ones. Like we've had a couple Westins I've seen, Marriott, Embassy Suites, Hyatt. They've been nice upper end scale. So that's good. This one has a restaurant inside, I guess. I'm close to a mall, so I'll probably hit up the mall later. I'll probably do a quick little video run through of what I brought, what I recommend to bring to these events. And why. But overall, thanks for joining me for lunch, late lunch, whatever this is. This little discussion. I'll fill you in on some more stuff as I find it. I'm gonna pull out my famous filing bag. If you guys watch my very first video about stuff I recommend, no joke, I had everything in there that I told you guys about in my tips. I had my passport in there. They looked at that. I have a pen. I have all my stuff in there. It's gonna be great. It'll be like seeing an old friend on screen. But yeah, so I'll probably hit up the mall later. That's a nice thing. As soon as you're off, you can do whatever you want. So I got days. I finished orientation early. I luckily didn't have as many things to do as some other people, so that was nice. Ideally, my roommate's going to be a night shifter, so that means I'll have the room to myself during the day, or she'll be sleeping during the day while I'm at work, and then when I go in the morning, she'll be sleeping. Vice versa. I meant to say that. That didn't come out right, but you know what I mean. We're going to be on opposite schedules. That's the goal, okay? Opposite. What else? I have no idea who my roommate is. I'm hoping they'll show up. Maybe I'll get the room by myself. That'll be sweet. 6 days to myself. Heck yeah. I'll show you my room. I'll do a little... I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just recording this, guys, okay? And I talk to you like guys, but it could just be myself. My husband actually gave me this idea. So, you know, if you haven't seen A Walk in the Woods, the second episode, John is there. That's my husband. And he basically said, you know, it's really sensitive stuff that you're dealing with, so maybe a journal would be good. And he's right. This is great. I'm doing a journal. Day one. All right, guys, so when I think of something else, I will post it. I will try to do one of these every day and tell you how my day is going. I don't think it'll be perfect like every single day, but I'll do my best. If something crazy happens, of course I'll report it. I'll give you a little run through of what I recommend to take in your bag, and then that's it. That's what I got. And then we'll take it from there. So thanks for joining me for lunch, you guys. I miss Cody already. I can't bring Cody to this. This is a little hectic. I have to be able to move around a lot. And so this is not something that you should take your fur friend to. Most of these travelers are out many, many, many hours. I mean, these orientations go into the middle of the night, like 3, 4, 5 in the morning too. Like if your plane gets in at 10, you're going to be doing all this onboarding stuff like in the middle of the night. Which is why I came early, even though that didn't matter since I lost all my stuff. But it's okay. I'll be fine. I'll get through this. I'll be fine. To complain about something, right? Okay. Positives, though. I'm here. I'm eating. I'm chatting with you guys, myself. And hopefully I'm going to go to the mall. Think positive, girl. Oh. All right. Take care. I will be back, and don't go too far and remake it. Okay, bye. I'll talk to you later. I'll show you my bag. Okay, bye.
I'm in this to learn something. I have learned a lot. My eyes are like wide
Right now.